We have some breaking news as a massive Bengals trade is imminent. As moments ago, a brand new report dropped surrounding one player in particular requesting a trade. And folks, a trade is coming, and this has huge implications going forward. We'll break down exactly who this is, who requested the trade, as well as a few other updates ahead of what's going to be a very exciting game against the Jets on Sunday. But before we get into all that, and there's a lot to go into, and especially with breaking news happening, quick reminder, hit the subscribe button. About 67% of you guys who are watching right now aren't subscribed. You guys have been absolute beasts with the support. Folks, we're getting close to the big goal of 5,000 subscribers and the bigger goal of 10,000, so make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let's not waste any more time here. Moments ago, we had a report from Adam Schefter revealing here that Bengals linebacker Logan Wilson, yes, Bengals linebacker Logan Wilson has officially requested a trade, and this one is interesting. Now, if you've been watching the channel here for the past few days, past few weeks, there's been a lot of discourse about Logan Wilson, and not a lot of discourse about Logan Wilson, but of course there's a sense that, he's falling out of favor of Zach Taylor and all these different things. And people started asking about, okay, well, what's going on with him? He's requested a trade. The 6-year player has started in all 7 of his appearances this season. However, the team captain has seen his role reduced over the course of the season. And we know that rookies, Barrett Carter, Demetrius Knight Jr. have received the bulk of the team's defensive snaps. And this dates back to in week 6 against the Packers, where Wilson played less than a quarter of the team's defensive snaps. And of course, against the Steelers in the biggest game of the year, he played a little bit more. But folks, this is pretty wild. Now, obviously, he's in the midst of what was a 4-year, $36 million extension. I'm going to dive into, what this means going forward. But a trade is incoming for this team, right? A trade is incoming. Clearly now, unless they decide to keep him, which is possible, the guy who was absolutely crucial towards our Bengals Super Bowl run is probably going to get traded. Now, he's lost a step or two, and I'm very curious to see what you guys think about it. Obviously, he's dealt with some injuries, last year and a half-ish. He hasn't necessarily looked the same since those injuries, but being benched for, rookies, and again, he played a fair bit of snaps there in the game the other night against the Steelers, but not what he used to be. It's interesting, but it makes sense that he requested a trade, and now it's going to be on the Bengals to either decide to move him if they can get adequate assets back, or on the flip side of things, keep him and see if he can work things out. And the Bengals, we know, they have ranked 25th in yards allowed per rush attempt. They haven't looked great defensively overall. And of course, dating Wilson back, he was first, I believe, a 3rd-round pick in the 2020 draft. So it's interesting. And amidst all of this, even before he requested a trade and with the diminished role, Carter said that Wilson has done a good job helping him get acclimated to his new status as a starter. So Wilson has helped, of course, rookie Barrett Carter get used to things and said it hasn't changed our relationship at all. I still lean on him heavily with stuff, still ask him questions every single day. He's been a great leader, just like the man he is since the day I got here. So it seems like a fantastic teammate by all accounts, but he wants out. And that is interesting. And again, his playing time has declined, all these different things. But at the end of the day, folks, it sucks kind of because, of course, this is someone that a lot of us, not grew up watching, obviously, but he was at one point a up-and-coming young player. We look at their defense now. Of course, they've had Demetrius Knight. They've had Barrett Carter. You can see Logan Wilson there. What does this mean going forward for the game Sunday? What does this mean going forward beyond that? Logan Wilson strikes me as the type of person and type of character that will still play through it despite wanting out. And I do suspect the Bengals will at least somewhat try to honor his trade request. However, if you guys know, he doesn't really... The Bengals trade, they don't really trade a lot in the past midseason and at the deadline. However, they did trade for Joe Flacco, and it's going to be interesting. Now, there are some teams that, could want him. I mean, I guarantee you a lot of teams that want him. But at the end of the day, the weird thing for me is he was benched because of poor performance, and I think ultimately he's a little bit upset with that. But at the same time, I don't know. At least, popular speculation was that he was benched for poor performance. But there's also some recent reports coming out saying that he was benched because they just want to try some rookies in, trying to throw stuff at a wall and see what sticks. Because at the end of the day, they need better defense. I mean, their O-line's been horrible. The defense has been horrible. They need some better defensive players. Am I throwing some of the rookies out there? Some of the young players, obviously Knight, Barrett Carter especially, could work out. Now, as it pertains to a trade here, it's going to be interesting to see what they actually do with him because he is a veteran. He has been around for a while. I'm sure there's a lot of intangibles that he brings to the team. And I believe Logan Wilson's grades better than a couple of the other rookies, at least thus far, like Knight and Carter in, PFF and things like that. So it's interesting. Despite this trade, unless you're getting a ton, or despite this trade request, unless you're getting a ton of assets back, I don't know if I see the Bengals necessarily trading him. Now, I believe last time I checked, it was a couple days ago, Logan Wilson ranked like 44th out of 77 linebackers in PFF. So he hasn't been completely terrible. Obviously, hasn't been great. The eye test, quite frankly, looks a lot worse than what he actually is. And we know this Bengals team has ended up, struggling defensively. They've missed a lot of tackles. I mean, I know Demetrius Knight misses like over 40% of his tackles this season, which is not very good. And I'm not trying to stay here and say that, or sit here, sorry, and say that Demetrius Knight's better than Logan Wilson. He's not better than Logan Wilson. But clearly Zach Taylor, Duke Tobin, they want to try some of the younger guys. And if they want to lean all into that, maybe they, admire him and, or not admire, they actually, go through with his request. I don't know. He's a fantastic player. Obviously, you have some of the rookies admiring him, guys like Barrett Carter. So let me know down below. Would you trade him, or would you rather just keep him, hold it out? Obviously, trying to win now as we approach the trade deadline. There's been more reports that the Bengals are going to be buyers, that they're trying to improve their defense. I had a video earlier today on a lot of different players, including, of course, Jeffrey Simmons, who could be an absolute robbery for this team. It's going to be interesting, especially with Trey Hendrickson starting to get healthy again. I think this team's going to try to go for a postseason spot, try to win the division, and Logan Wilson undoubtedly would help you towards that. Even though he's had a bad start to the year, I think he'll pull back through. But let me know down below your thoughts are, what you think a trade will look like. Very good possibility here that he is all but gone in the, if not this year, in the coming years as well. 2 years left in his deal, I believe $34 million contract. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let's move on though to today's practice. It is, of course, Thursday. The Bengals are back on the practice field Thursday afternoon as the team tries to get healthy as possible for the Jets matchup, and it looks like they'll be pretty close to full strength outside of the players on injured reserve. So Trey Hendrickson logged another limited session after missing his first game since 2022 last Thursday. A few other players got limited designations as well, and Cam Staple and Matt Lee. So still undecided on Trey Hendrickson. I guess at this point you could grade him as questionable. Looking at some of the other players, Marco Wilson did not practice. And of course, we want and we know that this Bengals team needs a healthy O-line, whether that's for Joe Flacco, whether that's for when and if Joe Burrow returns. It's going to be a very, very interesting next few weeks. However, at the same time, you can see here some quotes from Zach Taylor. So there's an element. It's good that we've had to find ways to win, and we've got to build off of that. That's a good quality to have, and that's how you see yourself earning, obviously, big spots in the end of the games. Now we've got to focus on building a lead early, playing really solid, and putting teams to bed and winning by a larger margin. And again, you're without Joe Burrow. It's obviously brutal. It makes everything harder, but this defense hasn't been good enough. The O-line hasn't quite been good enough. You put some of the pressure back on them by, of course, winning these games. On the other team I'm talking about, you put the pressure early, score early, put the pressure on the other team's defense. I have no doubt that Cincinnati Bengals will go ahead and really get on a big winning streak here. But let me know down below your thoughts are. Breaking news out of Adam Schefter surrounding the Bengals. Logan Wilson requested a trade. A little bit crazy. You guys are the best. Cheers.